There is a type of creature in the world. They were discovered by a few people. However, its existence has not been confirmed. We collectively refer to these organisms as unidentified mysterious animal, unidentified organism, abbreviation UMA. Hello everyone, welcome to the UMA video series. On the vast South American continent, snow-capped peaks of the Andes Mountains, with the Patagonian wilderness stretching to the horizon, together they have created a unique and a captivating natural wonder. It also gave birth to countless mysteries, wild folk tales. Today, I will introduce you to a kind of large aquatic organisms originating from South America, the legendary Patagonian marsh, Imishi. Imis usually described as a nocturnal large, amphibians, larger than a cougar, sturdy build but relatively short legs. Its entire body is covered in stiff green fur. Short head but with huge fangs, flat feet, 3 toes of the forefoot, the 4 toes of the hind foot. The ends of its limbs have sharp claws. Immense strength, able to grab horses by the lake, drag them into the water, and eat them. For creatures like Imishi, the earliest written record that can be found to date, from Argentine zoologist in 1898, Florentino Perugino, articles published in natural science journals. The existing ground orchids of Patagonia, the article mentions. He had heard people mention a certain lifestyle many times. Mysteries in the Santa Cruz region, secular animals. They are said to live in caves underground. They are usually active at night. According to Native American descriptions, they have sharp claws and a terrifying appearance. Its body can withstand fire and ammunition. Unkillable, Argentine explorer Ramon Lista said. When I was traveling inland from Santa Cruz a few years ago, I have seen that mysterious creature with my own eyes. He also did his best to hunt down that beast. Multiple shots were fired during the incident. None of them could stop the creature. Finally, he fled into the bushes and disappeared. Subsequent search operations yielded no results. High schoolish star description. It's an animal that resembles a pangolin. Body size similar to Indian pangolin, but he had no scales. Instead, it was covered in reddish-gray fur. He believes that should be a species similar in size to a pangolin. Poor and aged animals. Here Amagino also mentioned someone from southern Patagonia. I sent him some small drones made of unknown animals. I hope he can help me identify it. What kind of animal is this? He said, these bones are similar to the small bone fossils of the genus Morton asterisk. Very similar, but smaller in size. The specimen was taken from a partially shredded animal skin. The fur was found on the ground. It has been severely discolored. It may have been exposed to the air for several months. He believed this piece of leather. It's the kind of pangolin that Lista saw. It was named New Demon-Toothed Beast, a living basket of an extant demon-toothed beast. In 1899, Amagino published The Mystery of Patagonia enters the animal translation. The term Imishi was mentioned for the first time. The following is a partial excerpt from Chapter 2 of this article. To make it easier for everyone to understand, I made some minor adjustments to the article. A small number of travelers traversing the Patagonia region. You will have contact with the hospitable Furch people, the opportunity to hear them tell a mysterious story. The story of the giant 4-legged animal. His face was contorted, invulnerable to swords and spears, even the projectiles fired with fire. None of them could penetrate his body. Locals call it Imishi. It means a tiger in the water. The name alone filled them with fear. Whenever asked about the details, they would then lower their heads with solemn expressions. Either remain silent, either avoid it or not reach it. My brother, Carlos Amagino, already in Patagonia, the district conducted a 12-year investigation dedicated to collecting specimens and conducting geological research. Recently, it unveiled a corner of the mystery surrounding that creature. Mid-last year, he sent me some animal art from Santa Cruz and wrote perfunctorily, I finally got from the Twerch Indians. Accurate information about Imishi has been obtained. He is not a myth or fantasy as we believe. Rather, they are real, existing organisms. Once in the hands of an Indian, I once saw a piece of barley lion skin. The bone specimen I sent you is embedded inside. The structure is similar to the fossilized skeleton of a demon-toothed beast. Another indigenous man, Hampong, told me. When he traveled from Seng to Santa Cruz, I once encountered a barley lion and fight it. They eventually killed it by feeding it. According to their description, the barley lion is an amphibian, walking on land, as agile as swimming in water. Today, it is only found in central Patagonia. For example, Lake Kawawapi, Lake Ventana, and Bueno, caves along the shores of Lake Ellis and other areas, and Gravity Zone. But according to legend, his footprints, it once extended north to the Rio Negro River. According to the memories of the previous generation, they are on the eastern route of the Andes Mountains, up to all the lakes in the Strait of Magellan. They are all distributed about half a century ago in an imus down the Santa Cruz River from the Andes Mountains, landing on the north shore of Pavin Island. The frightened Native Americans fled inland. From that time on, that desolate place was named Imish Aiken, meaning the place where Imish stayed. After examining these remains, it can be concluded they belong to a type similar to the extinct demon-toothed beast genus, the earthly land. The creature was named Neodemon-toothed beast, a type of land acquisition. The above is the initial report by Imishi, record of Amaginos theory. This caused a great deal of controversy at the time. Well, although it's still quite controversial, but his explanation, this prompted more similar reports to emerge. 1900, French paleontologist André Tourner, in French journals, Natural History Museum Gazette, a post titled, On the Concubine of Tiber, Seymour of Native American Legends, the article about bare hands and the concubine of the Western Mother. A creature called Zemuki was mentioned. It is said to be particularly ear-cutting. Native Americans generally believe this is a creature with a body size as large as a lion. Amphibians. Its entire body is covered in dark brown fur. The eyes are surrounded by light yellow downy hairs and extending towards the ears, and it lacks an external auricle. One evening, he was on the bank of a river in the Patagonian interior. Look out! I saw an animal's head emerge from the river. The image closely matches the description of the Turch people. Despite the darkness, it is still recognizable. His head was about the same size as a cougar's head. The brain has a round shape and well-developed brain regions. Light-colored patches around the eyes, slightly upturned upper lip. This could be caused by fangs, although André shot him. But in the following days, people searched the entire riverbank. However, his body or footprints were not found. Local Indian, the guide from Diane, heard about André's experiences. He appeared extremely terrified and assured him that it was the mysterious Western concubine. On a sandbar on the riverbank, a few kilometers away, the guide also showed him several similar places. Large feline footprints. He stated that those were the footprints left by the Western concubine. This creature attacks lakes at night, and the American tadpole drinking water on the riverbank. Animals, such as round-headed animals, drag him into the water and drown him, then take it back to the cave and eat it. Argentine journalist and writer, 2007. Juan Matamara provided a testimony. The main record is people's understanding of American gold miners. Impressions of Martin Sheffield. That's the one who wanted to bluff. The man searching for Navalito. In this testimony, part of it came from Martin's daughter, Juana Sheffield. He first spoke of Martin. He is a practical and good father, and it was stated that everyone knows 1922. The father saw the footprints of a huge creature by the lake. The story of the bushes being trampled, but it was actually him who discovered those traces. One morning shortly after the sighting, he and his younger brother went to the pond to look for horses. I saw those traces leading to the water again. He must have crossed the pool straight through. On the other side of the shore, Juana saw half red and half yellow, something the color of shoes. That was an animal. Half of its fur is fluffy. Half of it is feather-like. They only saw the creature's chest. Its head and tail were not visible. He just lay there. It looked like she was asleep in the sunlight. The two did not stop. Instead, he immediately turned and ran away. They even forgot about the horse. A few days later, they were in a backwater area of the Eprusalt River. I also heard some sounds like calves bellowing. When they looked down at the canyon, only then did I realize it was that animal and fish thrashing about on the surface of the water. The sound also came from there. Argentine naturalist Clement, Dr. O'Nelly, believes this is very likely the rumored new demon tooth beast, Emishi. This part should describe Navalito. It should have appeared in that episode of the video, but because I couldn't find this article at the time, so I'm very sorry to add this speculation here. 2009 Argentine cryptozoologist Austin Witter recorded 2 entries in his blog. Eyewitness report of an incident at Lake Coahuapi. The first one refers to the 1990s. Fisherman Eloit from Sarmiento. Nick report. A strange creature was seen there. The second one is about the morning of December 14, 2001. A farmer named Elias Glees. About 600 meters from the shore. See the middle of the lake. There is a huge thing moving. Its head looks like a horse. His body was as broad as an elephant's. Then he observed with binoculars, because the creatures were swimming away from him, towards the center of the lake. So he only felt that the animal's back was big, thick and round. About 7 years ago, his son had also witnessed a similar scene. Lake Coahuapi, located in the southern part of Chupat province, Argentina. It has now dried up, but at that time, the lake's surface area was still 98 square kilometers. Professor Witter believes the water monster is likely because habitat loss and discovery. In addition to Lake Coahuapi, it's the 1.10 meter mentioned in Amikino's article. Habitat. Therefore, it can be identified as a similar eyewitness report. 2014, Witter received a message from a netizen. It is said that the couple ... When driving back to Nautilus, I encountered a strange animal crossing the road. They had to brake suddenly to avoid the animal. The latter looks like she's pregnant, slowly advancing along the mountain, and her image is similar to Witter's before. The 1.10 meter illustration released in Berkeley, exactly the same. Argentine paleontologist Santiago Ross, in 1899, published in the La Plata Museum magazine. In the cave of Ultima Esperanza, discover E. High. In describing the question, he expressed his views on Emishi frankly, or rather, the inner demons and the shameful doubts. One point mainly focuses on Amigino in 1898, and 2 articles published in 1899. There are differences between the beginning and the end, because he said in several of his articles, someone sent him a few pieces of music for listening to the small drum, and asked him what kind of animal it was. But by 1899, it had become. My brother recently sent me some animal bones. It unveiled a corner of the mystery surrounding that creature. Later it became last year's end. Ross believes all related records appear elusive and confusing. Perhaps Amicino, they just didn't want to reveal these details. The true origin of bones. That's why things got so chaotic. And the basis for the separation of the inner demon index cannot be determined. Based on his brother, the letter mentioned those from Indigenous, the bone in Enren's hand, or based on others from Patagonia. Bone specimens brought, and called on Mr. Amigino. Respond to this as soon as possible. At this point, no further response was received. I personally did not find it. Amigino. In other works, the origin of these specimens was also mentioned. Interestingly, Ross also mentioned a passage in the article. Similar eyewitness encounters. His exact words were as follows. Kenkel, the tribal chief of Church. He served as my guide for several months 2 years ago. He mentioned his grandfather to me several times during that time. Buenos Aires fox, a ferocious beast, inhabits the area. He is extremely dangerous. Approaching will trigger a frenzy among other animals. Once, when they were hunting ostriches by the lake, a group of horses were found dead at the same time. Native Americans have always been superstitious. There are countless such folk tales. At first, I didn't pay attention, but when I asked him to accompany me to the lake, only then did I realize his fear. He made up all sorts of excuses along the way. The journey was difficult, horses are easily startled, etc. Until the very last stage, I offered to give him a mule. He frankly admitted that the lake surface was turbid. I can't see anything at all. It's better not to go. Before the final operation, he told me that meat supplies were exhausted. Ostriches or round ostriches must be hunted. Let me lead the others first. I had no choice but to ask him to go with me, but when they were still 3 miles away, but he refused to leave no matter what. Let me go alone. He will wait on the hill, overlooking the lake. I originally intended for him to go directly to the lakeside, to convince him that there was no danger there. Finally, I even mentioned the danger. It was quite a feat to get him to leave the lake. 1 kilometer, but he was never able to get close to the lake. I think these Native Americans, perhaps they only know about Imishi through traditional stories. They mixed the characteristics of different animals together. It left people completely confused. This oxygen-producing animal, it is said to be able to walk freely on land, no less than in water. It is very likely a large serpentine animal. A similar theory was proposed by the British explorer in 1902, Heskyspry, Chad's art through the heart of Patagonia. This is also reflected. This is what he said. Indian legends. It is clearly an exaggerated imagination to a large extent. But I still hope that beneath these fantasies, find the source of a fact. However, after thorough investigation, I have to admit I gained nothing. Indians, not only have they never entered the Siderla Mountains, they might even avoid the mountains. Rumors about Imis, in printed matter, they all present a fairly clear form. However, after on-site investigation, I found them extremely blurry. Ultimately, I came to the conclusion. Native American legends likely refer to some kind of large water tower. I am in the Sangir River. I saw a very large water tower. Unfortunately, I didn't bring a rifle, although I returned with my weapons as quickly as possible, but he had already disappeared. Considering that Native Americans gave 1.4 meter amphibious characteristic, there seems to be no reason to doubt the truth behind those rumors. They are actually real animals, perhaps a subspecies of the Brazilian water tower. American zoologist Roy McCarthy, in his 1908 publication, the book Searching for Hidden Animals, states, London journalist Peter Fleming borrowed from the book Brazilian Adventure. In the great river of central Brazil, a giant water tower is inhabited. It is said that it can grow to 10 to 12 feet long. He believes that if there really are individuals with such a body size, absolutely worthy of the water margin, as described by Teverchet, Professor Roy speculated, Imishi, it is a rare large Asian species under the giant tower family. Its distribution range is limited and may still be shrinking. Mysterious zoologist Bernard Silvemans believes Amagino seems to have completely gone off track. He accepted his brother's proposal. The theory that skin originates from a 1.4 meter height, but this is completely different from ground sloths. This enormous monster might, due to its amazing size and power, fear, but we must trust this undisputed vegetarianism. 50 horses, and drowned. It's not uncommon for Thailand to be so bizarre. Furthermore, Imish is said to be an amphibian. Its pedigree structure is similar to the traditional thumb-like animal image. Vastly different, after all, biological habits. It may not be possible to determine from the skeletal structure large, knowledgeable animals like the moth and the hippopotamus, although living an amphibious life, but there was no evidence in their bones. Dr. Austin Wittore, in the blog, multiple interpretations of Imishi were mentioned, like American water glaze, sea rats, etc. It seems that in theories after the early 20th century, people prefer Yimishi. It may be a large-scale, paper animals, based on the written materials I could find. Personally, I think the authenticity of 1.10 meters is more important. Its legendary attributes seem to be stronger, but I do not deny the existence of this so-called aquatic feline. First, many scholars are skeptical of Imishi. It is based on Professor Florentino's 2 papers. His own ambiguity is actually more concerning. Perhaps it was his new model ruler influenced by theory. The reason for being criticized. In 1901, he once wrote a letter to the German zoologist Hermann. Erlin explained, I am not describing the new Machi beast through references. Instead, it's through the bones mentioned. These bones are absolutely unique, and without a doubt. Next, I simply referred to a large number of what Native Americans and whites say. Inhabiting Patagonia, Description of a large mammal in a lake. If they are unreliable, that's not my fault. I have only reported the information currently available. Mysterious mammals living in Patagonia. There may be more than one. Instead, there are several kinds. Because I keep receiving similar messages, this passage is currently being interpreted as Professor Amagino. Disclaimer, he is controversial. It seems necessary to re-examine the situation at that time. Actually, I've seen many criticisms of the new demon-toothed beast. After clicking the article, discover what most scholars care about most. Or it's because of Professor Arminio, eager to give unproven animal naming. This move is likely to lead to confusion in classification. In addition to its report, there are indeed inconsistencies. That's why later scholars couldn't accept it. According to later explorers' accounts, the legend of being 1.4 meters tall does exist. I believe this kind of creature could also be real. Water margin and water lion. There are many derivative animals of aquatic storms, especially in Argentina, South America, Chile and Gabon in Africa, Zambia and other places. Their descriptions are very similar. The appearance of large felines and significant disadvantages. But I don't think the EMI cable was a surviving ground cable. Despite the current analysis of the nourishment holes of the American cable shows they might be able to move as violently as elephants. However, isopleph analysis indicates these animals are entirely herbivorous. The theory of large water towers, I think it's relatively reasonable. It doesn't necessarily have to be a large water tower, because no one has actually seen the so-called water margin, dragging large prey into the water, just like the legend of the water monkey in China. In some places, water monkeys are described as looking like cats. Visible hair can drag children into the water, but it's just a legend. No one knows who was actually dragged into the water and drowned. So, these legends are likely intended to exaggerate the danger. People should try to stay away from water sources. To avoid accidentally falling into the water, it will be attacked by other predators that come to drink water. The image of the water tower during the attack. This provides excellent material for such exaggeration. Of course, this is just my personal speculation. The truth about 1.4 meters, until now, still shrouded in the cold winds of Patagonia, South American lakes in recent years. Many of these are due to glacial meltwater from the Andes Mountains. Climate change and factors such as increased evaporation, gradually drying up, base growth of population, wastewater discharge further accelerates the aging of lakes. This leads to a decline in water quality. Ecological environment is damaged. Some water birds and certain fish species are facing extinction. I think if a 1-meter master really existed, with habitat loss, it may soon be discovered and confirmed by people. But that might also mean they had no other way out. That would not be a victory for science. Rather, it is the lamentation of the entire ecosystem. Protect the ecological environment. Respect for nature. It is for all known and unknown life. Preserve a possible home. In the end, it still comes down to the saying that the unknown is always greater than the known. This is the charm of Uma. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching.